Hello, you're tuning into UniTunes, the show where we seek to showcase the sounds of Australian music. I'm Fynn, and today I'm chatting to Daisy Pring. Thanks so much for joining us. How are you going this morning?
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Fynn. Going so well. So excited to be here.
Great, we're excited to have you. But before we get into it, we just want to acknowledge and pay our respect to the traditional custodians and land on the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. Now, Daisy is an extremely talented R&B pop artist hailing from the South Coast, who's recently come out with a brand new single called Reminder, which we'll be sure to talk about very shortly. But first, do you mind if we hit you with some rapid fire questions?
Let's do it.
Cool. How would you explain your sound in 3 words?
Fierce, energetic, and fun. Just fun.
Great. All right. How long have you been making music for?
About 4 years taking it seriously, but I've always been writing music and singing ever since a little kid.
Fantastic. So you're in a desert island and you can only listen to 3 artists for the rest of your life. Who would they be?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Probably Victoria Monet, Tate McRae, and Ariana Grande.
Very, very great top 3. All right. What is the latest song, artist, or album that you just can't get enough of recently?
I actually really liked Camila Cabello's latest album, XOXO. I'm really excited for Tate's upcoming album. But yeah, I've really been bumping the Camila Cabello album.
Yeah, nice. What's your music-themed unpopular opinion?
That you don't, sometimes less is more. That might not be unpopular, but that's just one of my opinions.
And finally, what are your predictions for tomorrow's Triple J's Hottest 100?
I really don't know. It's a tricky one. I feel like we'll definitely hear Messi up in the top 10 at least, but yeah, no, I don't know. I haven't voted, so it's too overwhelming for me. There's too many options.
Absolutely. It's hard to nail it down to 10. All right. Well, as I said, let's talk about your brand new single, Reminder, which is a great track to kick off this new year. Can you give us a bit of background to what the song's about and what inspired it?
Yeah. So this was the last track that we wrote for my upcoming EP. And it sort of touches on how after you want something for so long, when you finally get it, you kind of realize, oh, it was so much better in my head. So yeah, it's sort of about that and finding your self-worth and just being reminded that sometimes the grass is greener, on the other side.
Yeah, so that's really interesting because it is a song that it reflects on a past relationship with a real nonchalant confidence. And you mentioned how it was kind of getting to the stage of really wanting something and then realizing that, okay, maybe I wanted the romanticized version in my head. So how much of a role did songwriting play in getting to that final stage that we see in Reminder?
Well, I think a lot of the emotions that I processed through going through the breakup of this last relationship was expressed through all of the songs. And I think you do get a lot of emotions tucked away inside when you do songwrite. So I think that helped a lot. And then coming to this realization when, we were sort of back in contact, me and this ex. And then I went to the studio with Chelsea, who I wrote the song with, and we just really reflected on the whole timeline. And yeah, I think just after writing so many sort of, I guess, simp songs about it, we were like, let's just really lock into this emotion that I'm feeling in this moment. And yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I guess, that energy that's in it was also evident in the music video, which you self-directed, which is a lot of fun to watch. And it looks like it would have been a lot of fun to shoot as well. So what kind of vibes were you trying to achieve with that video?
Well, I sort of started with the theme of the cover art, which was me with a boombox. And it's kind of the whole... So imagine like an ex is coming to your house with a boombox, that old tale. Because I feel like he was sort of doing everything but just showing up.
Right.
So we kind of used that. And then tying in the sort of retro look, I wanted to film the whole music video on a camcorder and keep that consistent throughout. So yeah, we grabbed Dad's boombox and we drove around just like the local areas where we live with my best friends. And yeah, we wanted to go to payphones, thinking of all the extreme ways to contact me, which you'd already done, like the emailing and all of that. But I'm like, what's the crazy stuff that could happen? So yeah, that's sort of where I took inspiration from.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. It is always quite funny. My I think my all-time favorite I've heard of is someone trying to contact their ex through TikTok DMs.
Oh yeah, no, that was full burner account. Depop was the craziest that I experienced.
Wow. All right. Well, that perfectly ties into my favorite line in the song, which is need a hobby, call your homies, do your laundry. So can you speak a little bit to the process of injecting humor into your lyricism?
Yeah. Chelsea and I just try and think of ways to subtly roast. But yeah, we sort of are like comedic people, I'd say. But yeah, that was sort of wanting him to do anything but contact me, like just leave me alone. This is too much kind of thing. But yeah, I think inserting humor in I'm a big person on humor, so I like to inject it into the songs. We just have so much fun when we write together.
You can tell that fun just shines through and it makes for just a really enjoyable listening experience. And this is your first song of the year. What is this? How does this reflect what might be coming in your upcoming music?
Yeah, well, I'm super, super excited to have more music out this year. So definitely going to be a couple more singles on the way, and then an EP about halfway through the year. So that will have 6 tracks on it. And I'm really, really excited to just keep pumping out music.
Yeah, that's incredibly exciting. And this song comes off the back of a 1-year hiatus. Mm-hmm. So what made you think that this is the one you wanted to come back with?
It actually wasn't originally what I thought, but after playing the EP to a few close friends, Reminder really stuck out to a lot of people. And I think also being the most recent song that I did write, it felt the most, it lined up with how I'm feeling right now. So I felt like, I wanted to just get it out while it's still what I'm really resonating with. And it's fun. I just thought it was a fun one for summer while we're still in summer.
Yeah, it is a summer banger. So what other kind of moods and vibes should we expect on the record? Yeah,
well, this one, Reminder, was quite inspired by the girl group Flo and Tate McRae. But the other tracks on the EP, a little bit more of like a Pink Pantheress inspiration, a bit of SZA inspiration. So there's a few more slower R&B tracks on the EP, but I would say, it's got similar sounds. It's pretty cohesive.
That is really exciting. I love it whenever we have new R&B music coming out of Australia. And as an R&B artist in the South Coast, I imagine that there's not a whole heap of you guys. What's that experience like?
Yeah, that's right. There's not a whole lot. Well, I'm yet to connect with other R&B pop artists down this way. It does make it a little bit hard for live shows when opening for other acts, and I feel like I am very different or finding opening acts for my shows. I do sort of struggle to fit into a lineup down this way, but I don't feel like it's not received well. I do think a lot of people listen to R&B and pop down this way. It's just more the people doing it down here, but no, it's fine, and I hope to just kind of build the community down here, and hopefully it'll grow.
There's definitely people listening to the music, so it's great that you're able to, I guess, fill that niche. And speaking of your live show, it looks really cool, and it is definitely unique. I've noticed you have dancers as part of your show. Yeah. So I want to ask about that. How do you work with those dancers to choreograph movements that go with your music? Yeah, well, I do leave most of the choreography to them, but I do try and I'll always be there at the rehearsal so I can do it with them and see what works while I'm singing.
or I'll have ideas. In the last show, we had like a moment where I wanted them to hold the microphone for me, and we did a little floor moment. So I'll definitely throw out my ideas, but when it comes down to the detailed choreography, I leave it to them to collaborate, Zara and Lily. They're amazing. But for all the choreography that I'll do with my backup singers, I'll usually come up with that because it's a little bit more simple. But I love dancing, and that's something that I want to work on more as well.
What else goes into preparing for a live show?
Well, I think keeping your voice in shape is really important. So I still have weekly lessons with a vocal tutor, Mary Gansel. So I'm always trying to keep my range, in shape. Usually we'll keep a similar set list because it's all my songs. So we'll just do a rehearsal probably the week before with the drummer and the BVs and everyone. But yeah, I think just knowing your songs back to front so that you can engage with your audience without sort of worrying about your performance.
Great. And it looks like you've done some pretty cool gigs over the years. Do you have a favorite?
Last year's Winter Wine Festival at Crooked River was amazing. That was a lot of fun. They've had some massive artists there. They've had Spacey Jane and Vera Blue, Matt Corby. So getting to play before them was really fun, and it's a great sense of community up there when everyone in town comes, and yeah, that's been great. And another one was at Kudos Bank Arena when I graduated from the Talent Development Project. That was really cool as well.
That's it. Can you speak a bit more about that process and that program?
Yeah, so it's a great program. It's for year 10 to 12, I think, your senior years of high school, and there's different phases that you go through, but they teach you so much about the music as being your business and the business side of it in the industry, and songwriting. That program really pushed me to songwrite more. So I definitely recommend it if anyone is listening that's in high school. It's a great program. It's free. And yeah, it's based in Waterloo, I think.
That is interesting. I feel like sometimes when we're talking about art, the business side of it's a bit of a dirty word, but as an independent artist, when you're releasing an EP, how involved do you have to be in thinking about the business side of putting out music? Yeah,
well, a lot, because I'm all self-managed and independent. So I have to be submitting to playlists on Spotify, then through the distributor, as well as pitching myself to local radio stations to try and, get interviews and get myself out there. And also just the content side of it is having content to promote yourself. So yeah, I had to take the cover art, edit the whole music video into little snippets, and then collaborate with graphic designers to come up with posters and all of that sort of stuff. But it's definitely a learning process. I feel like in my first 2 singles, I didn't really know how much work I had to be putting in beforehand. So I'm definitely getting a little better at the business side of it now, yeah.
No, you do a great job on social media. The promo for this new song's been great.
Thank you.
And all the visuals, the video, the cover art. So, it all creates this cohesive, I guess, feel for the song. And yeah, talking about, I guess, visual representation of the music, that also comes through in your lyricism. If we cast our ears back to your first track that you put out, Retrograde, you've got this really interesting use of color symbolism throughout the song, not to get all English and technical and technical about it, but how did the songwriting tool help you communicate the ideas of that track?
Yeah, that one we sort of set the mood. They have lighting in the studio, and we were like, what color are we feeling? And I was like, purple. And then we kind of just used like the feeling we were feeling that day, the color that we chose, and then kind of just related it back to the relationship. And we just kind of used that, throughout to represent we said like black and blue for how the relationship was in that time, and purple reminds me of them. And yeah, sometimes it's just something small and then you kind of run with it, you know?
Do you feel like often that's the case with, writing songs that it just takes kind of a spark of inspiration and then the rest almost falls into place?
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes we'll be on a roll and then you sort of your ears get tired because you're listening to a lot of the same things. So we'll just take a break, we'll go outside, give our ears a rest and come back fresh, and then often be able to get straight back into it on a roll again. So sometimes I find taking the beat away from the beat is nice as well.
Nice. And in the same year that you put out Retrograde, you also released the dance tune Falling Together.
Yeah.
Which is a great combination of lyricism and production.
Yeah.
On that track, you worked with the notable producer, Taka Perry.
Yeah.
On Remind, you also worked with Chelsea, as you mentioned, Chelsea Warner.
Yes.
So how do you approach the collaborative process when working with different creatives on your music?
Yeah, well, Chelsea and I have known each other since I was 17. So that's been she, knows me really well. And I think I'm very comfortable. Taka, that's the only song I've written with him. But that was a great experience as well. He just obviously is very good at what he does. So straight away I felt comfortable and I feel really honored to have worked with him as well. But it's a similar experience. You go to the studio, whoever's there loves writing and you kind of you get straight into it and you work off each other's ideas and I feel like it's quite a similar process.
Great. Well, before we start to wrap up, every interview we ask our guests to suggest 2 songs for our ever-growing Uni Tunes playlist. So firstly, we want one of your songs. And secondly, we want a song from one of your favourite Aussie artists.
Well, I'm going to have to go Reminder, Daisy Pring, of course. And one of my favourite Australian artists is Wafia. She's also Syrian as well, like me. And her album, I think she has an album coming out at the end of this month, but sad shit on that she's released, I love. So I'm going to have to go with that, Sad Shit by Wafia.
Thank you. Perfect. And in this next year, you've got this EP coming out. I'm sure you're going to be doing more shows. Mm-hmm. So where anyone listening, they want to keep track, where can they find all things Daisy?
Yeah, so my handle's Daisy Pring on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'll be posting my shows mainly on Instagram. So you can keep up to date there and sign up to my mailing list with the link in my bio and you'll know everything.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Daisy, for joining us on the show. It's been fantastic talking to you.
Thanks so much, Fynn. Thank you.
Well, good. Hope to see you soon. That's all, folks.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Uni Tunes.